Hello.
Hassan, you have to turn your video.
Oh,
Yes. Okay.
okay.
Hi,
Yeah.
everyone. I'm Shelja, and as I said, Hassan has not seen this. So, Hassan, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
Great, great.
This is.
Awesome.
So, why don't you start with, let's just get started immediately. What is Mind Road? Let's get started. Then we'll talk about you. Nobody's interested in knowing who we are. They're all interested in the superhero.
Sure, sure. Yeah,
So why don't
absolutely.
you so why don't you start
So,
with introducing yourself, who you are, what you do, and currently why are you wasting your lot of mind space with a crazy person like me? Why don't we start with that?
yeah, sure, absolutely. And sorry for the shaky cam because
Don't worry.
I have never had like tools and all for streaming, but I'll have to set it up now. We're gonna
Cool.
do this more often.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
Your voice, okay. You are frozen. Perils of technology. Murphy's law at play. Okay. Again. Okay. This is comical at the very least.
Yeah, somehow I had got disconnected.
And
Okay, so,
you are still frozen, by the way. I don't know if others can see.
oh.
Uh, you're still coming frozen. Maybe you disconnect and come back. Like maybe what you do is because I can't see you move, and I don't know if others can see.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ujjwal, can you just see if you can see Hassan move? He's
Yeah,
watching
let me
us.
know.
I doubt it. Let me just ask them on WhatsApp. In the meantime, I suggest you exit and um,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure, I'll just exit and then join
Correct,
back.
correct, correct. Do
Okay,
that. And
one
yeah,
second.
yeah. In the meantime, I'll just start the vlog for today. Hi, I see a lot of people. I think today is the maximum number of people who have joined me live so early. So thank you so much. And we'll just get started. In the meantime, I'm going to start with rants, a part of the piece that I wanted to talk about it later. So the first one is I want to talk about Jon Stewart and, oh, there he is. One second. Yes. Are you there?
Yeah?
Fantastic. Okay, so I
Okay,
already
great.
started on a rant thing. I'll come back. So basically, I don't know. You know Jon Stewart, right? The comedian and stand-up, and who's back on Apple Plus. So he landed up doing a podcast a couple of weeks ago. I had seen it with his team, and obviously, you've seen his work and the Jewish, angles that he brings into, and he talks about Holocaust, and he has dressed up as Hitler and made jokes about it. So he landed up doing this piece with his team, and somehow the conversation went from him talking about something about the Jewish culture, and then somebody made an analogy with Harry Potter, and then they went off on a Harry Potter, roast and fun, and they talked about it. It was a month ago. Yesterday, Newsweek landed up publishing that J.K. Rowling is anti-Semitic and trying to create this big uproar, and it was trending on Twitter and all. So Jon Stewart came on YouTube on his channel and did a piece, 6-minute piece explaining himself. The funniest shit ever. And he's talking about how newspapers and journalism today is basically adding fire to the fuel, right? So that's what Newsweek did. And he did that. And he talked about how he is not anti Semitic. He does not want Harry Potter movies or books to be edited in any manner, etc., etc. So the whole sensitivity issue. I wanted to, so since we've talked about it and we are doing the superhero universe, and there's a lot of philosophical things we'll talk about, let's look at this incident. Given that you lived in America for so long, I don't know what your immigrant status is. What is your opinion on these small little jokes being completely blown out of proportions in countries like America, where freedom of speech is pretty much the pillar of society? What do you think about that?
It's a very complex issue because a lot of the things that go on are currently the socio-political or
Hmm.
even the economic times that we live in, right?
Hmm.
And now any of the entertainment
Hmm.
um, mediums that are going on, may it be TV series, may it be stand-up comedy,
Hmm.
or even superheroes and everything, right? They have to be relevant to the current environment in terms of either challenging them which the comedians actually do a lot. And that's where the things get a little bit murky for how people perceive or react to it. And so actually, in a way, comedy in a way relies on that to go to that edge so as to divide people and talk about it and polarizing views. And it's a good thing. I mean, even if you see Deadpool or anything, right, it has a particular extreme tone which which everybody likes, and which people, even people who don't like it, actually agree that okay, that is the tone that it has to take. So,
Okay.
but I think that when it comes to stand-up comedians, people are still very touchy about what they say, and because
Not
it's just
See, I think that if you bring up India, then yes, because it's a very, very new, art form, and over the last 10 years, 15 years, and we know who all started it and what they went through in India. Like if you look at AIB and look at Tanmay Bhatt and the roast that they did with the
yes,
actors and the way, and nobody stood by him. He had to, like, it almost from the
absolutely true,
from here, it looked like he was all alone. And yes, there were four of them, but I don't think, like, people had to just take care of themselves. And we've reached a stage
absolutely
where
true.
in 17 years, till 3 years
Mm.
ago, it never crossed my mind that in America people would get touchy about making jokes of Jesus or religion. And imagine that is happening, because that was one of the things that when I came here 17, 18 years ago, I remember people being proud of that fact that you can say anything, you can have any point of view, whether you want to kill that person or not, but that person has the right to be opposite. But today, sitting in New York City, I live in the most liberal haven corner of the world,
Yeah,
one
in
of the most liberal.
Midtown,
Upper West Side, not even
Upper West
Midtown,
Side.
Upper West
Oh,
Side,
Upper West
Upper
Side.
West
Okay.
Side, like the cusp of Upper West Side. It's the
Mm.
liberal haven of the world. Yet, even here, with neighbors, you get into an argument about any stupid thing, right? Encroaching on your personal space, whatever shit. The third sentence, second sentence, you dig deeper, is they look at you, look at your skin color, go back to your country. And these are people who can't even speak English to save their lives. And they are the ones who are telling you to do that. So things have gotten to a place where I feel voicing your thoughts and opinions can get you into trouble, and it's happening in this country. So I want to connect that to Desi Superverse and Mind Rule. We'll start with Mind Rule. So what is Mind Rule? Where are we looking at using Mind Rule for voicing people's opinions, storytelling? What can people expect? Why don't you give us a little insight into your mind and from which we got Mind Rule?
Sure, sure, absolutely. So all the different topics that we talked about, the world is changing and people have a lot of restrictions on what they can say safely in daily life, and how society builds a certain type of conformity under which you have to perform your daily life, you have to conduct. And the what I was thinking about is even the superheroes, even the other franchises were going that route of conformity, total conformity of whatever the trend is going on, just go with that, right? Till now, we have hardly seen much diversity in even the big brands like DC or Marvel. They came up with Black Panther and now with Shang-Chi, which is an Asian character. But
Or even
for
Eternals.
but
Eternals
even the
has.
Eternals, but I think it is too late because they have had thousands of characters on their rosters, billions of dollars, so 10 years of decades. So from point of a creator or an imaginer like me, I always thought since past so many decades, being a fan of imaginary characters, fantasy lands, lores, that why don't we see other hundreds of other countries represented, other views represented, when there's a talk in the whole world about same-sex rights or whatever, then we get suddenly woke. Everybody gets suddenly woke and creates characters and movies on that. Other than that, there is no natural inclination to promote creativity overall, without any limits.
Yes.
So,
I
yeah. So
totally
when
agree
I,
with you
yeah,
that. I agree with you that. Sorry, I'm
yeah,
interrupting you here.
sure.
as a creator, so I constantly try to balance two sides, because one is the creative side, as you know, and we both are like, and you are a tech auditor by profession, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
correct,
Right.
correct,
So
correct.
a tech auditor by profession, you understand that now storytelling industry, or even just filmmaking or comic industry, everything is so driven by return on investment, that if I'm
Yes.
spending one penny, okay, I'm spending one penny, when will you give me back my one penny plus so much, how much more, how much more? And that we have seen the crazy race go to a different level. Like 3 days back, actually, yes, John Stewart Singh started with I went to his channel because Stephen Colbert, yesterday's piece, he talked about Apple is the first company to have reached $3 trillion valuation.
Mm,
एक तो
correct.
आज तक मेरे को ये नहीं समझ में आया, द होल वैल्यूएशन थिंग, यू आर मेकिंग एक्स अमाउंट ऑफ मनी बट योर वैल्यूएशन इज 3 ट्रिलियन 20 ट्रिलियन, आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड. सो एज अ ले पर्सन आई जस्ट नो, ओ माय गॉड, दैट्स अ लॉट ऑफ मनी. So Colbert made a whole joke about, I have iPhone 13, I'm a middle-aged man, I could be listening to music and my phone is not charged, how difficult fucking it is to build another whole end of phone, why did you take it away? And the whole valuation that, okay, I'll send you the money, make a that's how it all started. And then it went on to freedom of speech, etc. So now when we take it to Marvel, a lot of these Marvel actors, when they have done a movie, they go to these shows to promote. Disney has gone to the level of suing a school for using their characters to do some school storytelling. So there has to be some limit to what consumers are being put through. First, you take their money, you make good content, you take their money and give them entertainment. Then you tell them this is art form, I have to be lower. Okay. So this is the disadvantage. So I had told my spouse today that, look, I'm doing an interview with Hassan. We are talking superhero universe and he's working from inside. He's like, thoda volume. I was like, yes, today is going to be tough. So first trigger has already happened because he has meetings. So the
Right.
second, yeah. So we have to, so I have to have my barometer where you see the volume go
Yes, the
up.
level of the voice.
Yes, and as you can see, I'm
Okay.
so nervous that I'm sweating today because this is our official launch conversation and I am doing horribly here. So I'm extremely nervous.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, absolutely.
you will give me a second. I have to switch on the fan. Like it's very
Sure,
hot.
sure, sure.
Sorry, sorry. Give me
Sure,
one
sure, no
second.
problem. Yeah.
You keep talking in the meantime. Please talk about my room.
So yeah, I was just saying that this idea came up with me when I was in school because I am a very imaginative person. I was very curious, and I always wanted to have an open world where we can create characters, we can create stories as artists. And it took me years and decades to actually hone in on my own storytelling skills. Started writing poems. Then a lot of my friends know, they've seen part of my journey, but not the full journey. So some of them know that I write screenplays. Some of that know that I'm a poet in my free time. But I've evolved over time to see, okay, this is how my storytelling skills or vision needs to be implemented. And about 4 to 5 years back, I came up with this exact idea that, okay, now the stories, the characters, and everything that I have, it needs to be an expansive universe where artists and everybody can collaborate with me and with other people and with other writers, other storytellers, and create an open-ended world where a little bit of curation, a little bit of nudge into a proper storytelling mixed with openness of you can take any character and give it to different artists. They can create beautiful things with it. And we can tell stories which appeal to different types of people. So today, if we want to do something with Spider-Man or with Superman, we cannot just go on creating an anime version, a 3D version, or 2D version. The moment you start doing a curated storytelling, you'll get into all the copyrights issues and everything. With Metaverse coming into play right now with all the companies, the technology companies have now made a platform where we will be able to sell NFTs or we'll be able to go into virtual worlds. And now it is even more important for an open-ended platform to exist where artists can collaborate and take advantage of modifying, of taking IPs and working with the IPs without having a fear that,
So,
oh, can
so
I do
if
it
I
or not?
So if I had to sum up what you're talking about is that we are actually now entering a phase where original IP owners, even the new guys, forget about the old
Correct.
ones coming into public domain. Like Winnie the Pooh and Bambi went into public domain this week or this month, and I think Colbert already came out with
Because,
some blog and
yeah,
things like that. So, but that is a very long time. So so what
yes,
my opinion now is that, like, for example, we are doing Mind Rune and we have 7 original characters, right? We decided to collaborate, and your whole universe is now residing under Desi Superverse. So to give people an idea, Desi Superverse is the umbrella. I don't know whether it's a platform, it's a metaverse, it's in the working, it's still very organic. But the idea of Desi Superverse is that creators like Hassan, who have a very, very vast knowledge and idea of how a superhero universe needs to exist, what kind of philosophical connections each characters have, what the storyline is, what the backstory is. Yet he is not interested in trying to survive in isolation, because he has struggled for the last 10 years, and we have been in touch for on and off almost for 6 7 years, regularly with different scripts and projects, and trying to figure out how can the new people who are not connected to the legacy masterminds of the entertainment industry, whether you look
right.
at Hollywood, you look at Bollywood, you look at Nollywood, you look at all these woods that are, you know are there across the world. Like even if you go to Japan and China, you keep seeing them, but you don't know how many people are not getting chances. So even
Absolutely true.
right, so
Yeah,
new guys, like, so even Mind Room. So one of the things we decided to do was, when we decided to collaborate, one was whatever Hassan's thoughts are for, let's say, the first character, we release it exactly the way he wants it, how the character should look, how the clothes should look, how they should move, how the character's build should be. This is from his mind, but he also understands the value that once an artist reads his introduction, he would like that person to add to his characters. We want to start a trend where 3 years down the road, I don't want Hassan and I to fight that who built Mind Room. Everybody. So we want to be clear from day one. Mind Room is Hassan's idea. We will put it in the blockchain NFT. We are going to create NFTs. And this, from a giving credit point of view, I feel that is one of the places, because of creative insecurities between creative people, that is where credits become a bit of a problem. And this comes from the fact that people are not confident of their creativity. If people are confident
okay.
of the creativity, and Hassan is the biggest example, that he's so confident of his creativity and his creation that he is telling, okay, this is Mind Room, these are my 7 characters, I'm launching the first character. Okay, Shelda, you are an artist, I want this character to be like this, but you are also a writer. So this is my backstory, this is my character, this is what I am planning to do. But if you have something else, where you have some other character who wants to interact with my character, I am not going to put the sword of law in front of you all the fucking time. Let's start as a creative
Right.
collaborative. So that mindset, I want to first, the question I want to ask you about this whole big Mahabharat is, what was that turning point? Because you and I have grown up in the same environment, we've been given similar teachings, everybody has. What was it that made you get confident about your creativity, that it will not get stolen and it's okay to share my creativity, because I understand that that is something and I have to build from within? What was the turning point for you to be that confident about your creativity, to be able to openly invite other creatives to come and maybe do a better job on the same character?
Correct, correct. Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about that.
Hmm.
So, and that is a very important topic actually for all the creatives.
Mm-hmm.
In today's world, I mean, with before this technology and everything came into being, the copyrights issues, the copyright platforms where you can easily now register work and everything, the ideas were being stolen, and they still get stolen, for especially for the ideators like writers, script writers, and all. With the advent of the copyright platforms, I just learned that you need to do minimum stuff to copyright your idea first, which every writer should do, every artist should do. But
Mm-hmm.
apart from there, isolation is not going to get you anywhere. In today's collaborative world, it's not going to get us. So I accepted that risk, that okay, I'm going to take some steps to copyright my work, register my work, and then I'm going to lose that insecurity
Mm-hmm.
and going to go out in the world and say, okay, and also being insecure about your own character, that other people will spoil it, other people will not take care of it. that we, even as artists, we hold a lot of biases and inflexibility, which we need to lose with the world going into collaboration mode with virtual mode, and so many different types of art styles now being portrayed. Now, even if you see NFTs which are being sold in thousands of dollars, they have like pixel like artwork, which would seem so kiddish, right? But there is an audience for everything and different forms. So I I came into that realization that I need to go out and I need to collaborate with artists and actually see what magic they can do with my characters and my stories and where we can reach as collaborators. So that is how I came to it, that if you have insecurity in your mind that nothing is going to work out in most of the cases unless there is a miracle where somebody finds you, gives you everything. The other thing is with the traditional media, like right now we have a slate of movies. Okay, maybe it's Krish or Indian IPs or whatever. There is the stigma is of the writers is that if something fails, if your script is bought by a big label name, and if that movie fails, then you're done. Nobody else
Yes.
is gonna buy your script or whatever.
And the
You're done,
failure
you're
and
labeled,
correct.
yeah, and they will move on to another project, right? So, and even if it works out, it can take years for such projects to complete. Before we see such superhero movies and all being made out of original ideas. I'm not talking about Marvel because Marvel and DC have a slate of already proven decades of centuries of ideas, right? Superman started in early 90s, I think. 19th
90,
century, sorry, early
uh,
19th century.
century.
Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I
19,
think
oh, okay, okay.
I don't know the exact year, but way early. So I think they have a lot of history already. But apart from that, whoever is trying to create original IPs have a huge risk of things being started late, or even if they're started by these big label thing names that, they will be totally misunderstood, or they will stop the production or whatever. Many things that will not work out or may not work out. So if you just keep on waiting for that opportunity, we never know if it comes or if it works out. So now, till now, uh, prior to a couple of years, we did not have these mediums like OTT or like MetaVerse, digital blockchain, or even e-commerce sites selling NFTs or artworks of any types. So we did not have all these outlets before where you can consume, you can create, and people can consume high frequency, small tidbits of stories and different types of storytelling, right? Traditional. So initially there was just movies, then TV series. Now we have OTT limited series. Now we are going to storytelling by, a lot of other mediums. So then, it made sense for collaboration to work out, that we collaborate together, build small pieces of storytelling, build a framework where everybody can, artists can even sell their work while telling the stories, make their portfolios get credibility as well as entertain people. So all of that together. Yeah,
So you make very valid points that all these platforms have, sorry, all these platforms have made things better for people, for
yeah,
artists to come together. However, in my opinion, what I still figure out is that the people who put in money to make this scalable, at the end of the day, are the people who still understand money, right? At the end
correct.
of the day, you need to, but now with crypto coming in, and not being like crypto, only El Salvador, I think, has officially announced the country regulated, right? El Salvador is the only country till now.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
actually, El
Yeah,
Salvador is the only country where they have said that digital currency. I don't know what they did, but there is some official uh, position there, and you can
adoption or
have an
something.
option and you can deal with it. Now, in a country like India, so I was talking to a bunch of people, and they did say that their crypto right now, digital currency, money laundering is one of the biggest issues. And
Yeah,
how do you do this? This is one
yeah.
piece of it.
And also systemic failure if
Systemic failure,
countries are
correct.
not ready for it. Yeah,
The countries are not ready for it, education is not there, so this is a
correct.
problem that we have seen. And the one incident I keep bringing up is when the atom bomb was invented. before the Second World
Correct,
War,
correct, correct.
that of course when it was being done, the idea and what you need to do. But since
Yeah,
then, till now, if we look at worldwide, the amount of money and resources and people's hard-earned money that they work 18 hours a day to earn with taxes is being sent off to this place to, in the name of security, you keep just throwing in money. And on the other hand, we have technology where we have these gaming industries. VR is coming, haptic feedback is coming. I wore a
yes,
haptics. So I remember this was, I think, was it 3 4 years ago, Sotheby's was doing a VR conference. They realized that they need to be on it as well because of the whole art market explosion that's going to happen. And there was
right.
this one person who had got a haptic suit,
Yeah,
and while that haptic suit was more for yoga and things like that, he talked about how haptic suits can emulate gun wounds, gunshots, right? So now, if haptic feedback can replicate gunshot, uh, you don't really have the bullet inside, but you still understand that pain. Shouldn't technology be used for that kind of war where you can do video game wars? There is no need to send real people and invest that kind of money. So now, when we take that and you take storytelling, right, you have these Avengers, you have these cop shows, and
absolutely.
and all these people constantly talk about that we just make art. Okay, now it has been proven that art and life are constantly integrated, like yin and yang. You
Correct.
cannot separate one from the other. There are also people who constantly bitch about Marvels are making one after the other, it's the same movie. All of this is coming, but the people who are investors into these companies, into these technologies, where is the platform for them to own up to this? And how will this content platforms that people like you and I are trying to be a part of and probably contribute and join hands with 100 other people who are also into the open source philosophy, if all of us are producing content and all of us are trying to get onto this digital superhighway, where is the consumer going to come from? And are we all then supposed to just sit and just consume content? So, what I want to understand from you is the whole mind room experience that we are trying to build. Our whole motto is that learn, experience, build, and sell, or experience, learn, build, and
Correct.
earn.
Correct. Yeah.
Experience, learn, build, and earn. So, where do you see this metaverse playing a role in Mindroom, and what is the first step that you are taking, or we are taking, through our artist to artist program? How is the process happening? Tell the audience a little about how we came together, what is the process, and where we are at right now.
Sure, sure, sure. So Shelja already has amazing experience in Bollywood, like, decades of experience. And and one thing that she was looking for somebody who would collaborate with her. She had already an idea of this metaverse, right? So Shelja was looking into contributing artists, artists who can contribute to expansion of that metaverse in terms of ideas, in terms of IPs. And she began earlier with acquiring Bollywood IPs, which we will talk about later on. But she had a certain type of metaverse, and then when she talked to me about it, then I told her that okay, I also have a superverse of my own. I have characters lined up, their stories thought about since so many years, written in my books and everything. Um, and so then it began, taking place that, okay, we can create a complete metaverse in which small pockets of other universes can exist. So one can be fan fiction universe where the characters can be the people who you already know, Bollywood characters which are there behind on Shelja's wall. And then there can be other universes where there are original characters which nobody knows. So there can be all these types of fan fiction superverses existing in one universe, like everything meshed up. And how do we actually make it practically possible? So collaboration wise, I collaborated with Shelja to make sure that she would provide all the framework, the resources from her experience, and I would provide a whole superverse idea of original characters, which is Mindrune. And we tried to create a storytelling type that we can begin with in small chunks. So currently we'll be starting our storytelling for first character of Mind Rune on Instagram account, right? Which you're at Desi Superverse, that is the Instagram account. And then our next step are to take it to next level. So once we collaborate with more artists, 3D artists, 2D artists, and then using the metaverse platforms, may it be currently existing platforms, or we can create a new platform to go into an actual experience. So once Shelja was talking about haptic feedback or anything, if anybody here who's listening, they've seen Steven Spielberg's movie called Ready Player One. That is the future, believe it or not, in one way or the other. I mean, I'm not saying that is what exactly will happen, but that is the way all our senses are going to indulge into another world. And currently, we are just beginning with introducing these characters on Instagram, telling you story about that character in small tidbits rather than you waiting for a movie coming out every year or every 2 years. We'll give you the story on a daily basis so that we can consume that, build a character, and then slowly we plan to go into blockchain world, into NFT selling, into providing a lot of platforms. I don't know if I should reveal a lot or
No, no,
not.
please,
That is
honestly.
why. So
No.
we're,
So,
yeah,
so one of the things I wanted to add to what Hassan is saying, that the purpose of us sharing our whole process while we are doing it is because one of the things both Hassan and I realized over the last 6 years is that this is a very low, like learning, DIY learning, while it sounds very attractive and oh my God, I'm a freelancer. It's a very lonely world. It's a very tough world. And this idea that, oh, I took 5 years to learn this, and if I want to share it, give me money first. Instead of that, what his motto is and what my motto is, that why don't I have learned a bunch of things in the same space, you have learned a bunch of things, what are the chances you and I know exactly the same things? Very little. And we experimented with that. It took us a little while to kind of trust in terms of not having paperwork yet sharing ideas. So that is something I will definitely tell people to go with their gut feel or whatever it is. And as far as I'm concerned, my first gut, I have realized after a lot of tumbling and falling, keep trusting my first gut. I keep moving away from it, but I think I've realized that now that I'm about to turn 50, I am going to keep going back to my first gut. And so that's why Hassan was the first gut. Actually, he and I started with him reaching out for a script. You had written a whole script and we thought about making a movie. And I remember my first sentence to him: you want to make a movie by yourself, full feature film? Don't waste your time right now. The industry, whether it's Hollywood or Bollywood, if you have the money, resources, passion to give up everything and just chase this, yes. Otherwise, don't focus on feature films right now. Markets are going to change. And this was what, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we discussed that,
yeah, I
right?
think, yeah.
And in 6 years, Hassan has put almost 30 superheroes. So I've read a lot of his work. He's written 3 scripts. He has done about 30 superhero character work. And how he started working was he reached out to freelancers, a lot of these freelance websites that are there. You can, and he's a teacher by heart. He teaches some of the lower income school kids. So there's a lot of things that he does on his own, which I have been looking for somebody. So that has already been there. Then
Yeah.
over the last 2 years, when we started interacting, he looked at this crazy platform idea called Sapna Machine that I wanted to build. Sapna
Yeah,
Machine
that
is
was
pretty
the
much a drag and drop storytelling platform. Now,
toolkit.
toolkit.
Kind of.
Now, if you go online and search, there is a website called XR Collaborations or XR Collaborative, where the top 200, 300 of these XR means VR plus AR plus AI plus mixed reality is XR. So experiential reality, that's the word that they have used. And if you
Yes.
go, there are a lot of these platforms that are there where there are these drag and drop things that are available. To give you an example, NVIDIA came out with something called Omniverse. And Omniverse is based on Pixar's universal file format called USD. So Pixar came up with this universal file format called USD. Now, what does this mean? It means, I'll take the analogy of JPEG. So JPEG you can open on a browser, you can open in Photoshop. It's become almost universal because all the hardware devices, everybody accepts that JPEG. Now, people like us, all the 3D softwares and 2D softwares that we work, their original files don't talk to each other. So we have to do a lot of export and then open. So what Pixar and Nvidia did together with this Omniverse is that if you are working on Maya, Blender, I'm using a bunch of software names, you can just look them up, iClone, you have all Adobe softwares, all of them, we can have teams across the world working on their individual softwares. But with NVIDIA and Omniverse, that's almost become like a super highway. So it becomes much easier to collaborate. So even the big companies who are into the space, who create the backend for these big VFX companies, are also realizing that the smaller guys, the individuals living in the corners of the world, are the next creative people who needs access to these tools with as simple as a laptop or even a phone. Maybe 3 years from now, you could probably do something like this on the phone with
Right,
the
right.
avatar technology. So when Hassan and I started talking about how do we go about this, he was, I felt like it was almost like a co-founder attitude we had. And finding co-founders is pretty much like marriage. Whether you want to joke about it or not, the joke about work wives and all is real. You really get very intensely involved with the co-founder about creative ideas, your personalities. And given the kind of personality I have, it's very difficult for people to work with me. So finding somebody like Hassan, and we have been in touch for 2 years, and we fought maybe not even like 2 times, and he's managed it very well. So for me, that was like, okay, I'm not letting him go. So that happened. And then the way we looked at is the first character. He has a 2D designer who created these 2D references. Now we land, and I had this crazy idea of an artist to artist program for the last few years, that what I want to do is create a platform where artists come together and they also don't say, "Arey, mere ko to business nahi aata. I don't know business. I am just an artist." No, I have realized and I have learned the very hard way that artists also need to know a little bit about marketing.
Absolutely.
Without marketing, an artist is nothing. I am sorry. If you don't know marketing, you have to find somebody who knows marketing, which is your whole agent wala market, which itself is it's a shit show of a market. That whole industry is in for a big rehaul. The whole agent representing
Correct.
artists and celebrities and all is the worst kind of industry which needs to rehaul overall. So for him and I, we realized that both of us are creative people, but both of us understand a little bit of finances. So what can we, not I don't understand, he does, what kind of a model we can create where tomorrow, if let's say Desi Superverse starts becoming big, Mindroom starts becoming big, the artist who made the reference from which I made the 3D and we are going to release the NFT, should that artist who made the 2D reference get a residual income from that NFT? So that whole chain doesn't exist in Bollywood. I don't know how
Correct.
much, what happens in Hollywood, but in Bollywood, zero. And the writers, and I think Javed Akhtar is one of the people, he's like all these celebrities, even we don't know them and they are 70, 60-year-olds, but we just call them by first name. Sorry, that's how things are here. The Mr. and Sirji wala cheez nahi hai ab. So that doesn't come. So he has talked a lot about how writers, lyricists, musicians need to get good chunk. And when a movie makes 500 crores, you see all these newspapers and you see, okay, the star got paid 100 crores, the director and producer and the studio got paid. But what about the royalty trickling down that happens?
Right.
What are the books?
Absolutely.
So for Mind Room, the first character that we are launching, it started with Ujjwal. I think Ujjwal is there with us here. He is a freelancer and a fantastic artist. So he is making all the references for the 3D person, and he's making final comic book covers and poses and all with this character, because 2D art is not going to go away. 3D is not going to replace that. These are two types of things that you like. And that is also what Hassan and I were very clear about, that we know that 3D work now you can do much faster than 2D. So what kind of market and what kind of valuations should artists of 2D get? Because on computer you can replicate. So does this mean that the 2D world is more valuable now? Who decides what is more valuable? So for us, the idea is that we are not the person who will just decide, okay, we've made this superhero character and now we are going to sell 10,000 comics. We are not planning to do that. We want the market to help us create the demand that they feel is valuable. So on this note, the first character that we are looking at, before that, why don't you talk about the philosophy of mind rune and what rune stands for? So we'll take step by step, and
Correct.
then we will get down to talking about the artist to artist program and invite
Okay.
people to collaborate.
Sure, sure, sure. So when I was creating all these characters and stories and worlds and everything, and I had them written down, their plots and everything, and I'm just wondering one night that I have all these things, but then, what am I creating? And, these are all the things that are there. And I did not actually, at that time, there was nothing like Superverse or something, even Marvel comics or Marvel movies and all. They were not actually so much harping on that term yet. And so, in my mind, what came is like, okay, these are my imaginative ideas. And these are ideas which I don't understand fully. That is why I am putting them down on the paper on story format. And many of the artists or everybody, even as kids, we always have such cryptic ideas in our mind, which we don't understand yet, but we then explore them because of our curiosity, our passion, whatever. And so they are like runes. Those each idea is a rune. Rune is basically
And
a stone or
unfinished.
unfinished, yeah, or ununderstood or undiscovered, totally something that is a bit cryptic. It may be a language, it may be a stone, it may be some symbolic architecture or whatever. Initially, that is where the rune word came from, that it's something that people don't yet understand, even if they see it. So, what are those things in your mind that you don't understand fully yet? They're part of your imagination, they're part of your curiosity, but you don't yet understand them. And creating the stories from them and flushing them out and exploring your own imaginations of your own mind. That is how I came to this idea. Okay, this is mind rune. So an idea which it represents any idea in your mind as an artist, visual artist or storyteller, whatever, of a vision that you have in mind, but you haven't yet fleshed it out. So I wanted to always work on a platform which helps everybody, which gives artists a platform or toolkit and an ecosystem to flesh their ideas out, which they haven't yet understood fully. So that is where even artist to artist comes into play. And when we talk about collaboration or ecosystem, what Shelja actually mentioned, she mentioned all about the things like marketing or what artists should actually learn or know. I wanted to, so that was the idea that once we collaborate with each other, it's not only collaborating, meaning, so you sit down, brainstorm, and work on a character or story or artwork. No, we learn from each other. We learn, different types of things that we need to do. So, for example, if I'm working as a storyteller, I'm working with a 2D artist, then that 2D artist teaches me the process of how 2D artwork is actually made. Or if when I'm working with a 3D modeler, then I actually learn the process of how a 3D modeler works, even the geometrics and the physics that goes into it. And
You're
we
getting a
work with,
taste of that
yeah,
very time.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And similarly, we work with a social media person or whatever and understand a little bit about that. So we all grow together as collaboration to then that helps me define my ideas better. So when I see my characters after such a collaborative effort, then I can flesh them even better. I can put my learnings to a better use as a writer, as a creator. So that is the whole cycle that we wanted to create, that you bring your unfinished ideas into this ecosystem, use the technology tools, people, resources, everything, then create a cycle where you keep on improving yourself as an artist and keep on creating stuff and grow together and get recognition for it. And the other thing that I wanted to also mention is when I was creating mind runes, I just thought that as a that and I think a lot of the youngsters will also resound with me that now is not the time or age where we wait for stuff for years and then get recognized for it. No. If we have ideas in our mind, we want to get recognized, we want to get known, we want to express them to the world in a very short amount of time. So If I have such a world with 30 characters or whatever, and I have many other characters in my mind, how long is it gonna take for them to be expressed to the world if I go by the traditional storytelling?
Hmm.
It's gonna take like 10 lifetimes
Yes.
I'll have to be reborn so many times to do that. So that is not going to work for me
Hmm.
as a creator. And so and also people love to consume tidbits every day. Now we're getting, now everybody is at that stage. So everything is coming together to now propel us in a direction. The market is there, people consume stories in different ways, and now the artists need to collaborate with each other. And that is where right now it's the best time to launch Mindrun,
Okay.
because we have the technology and we have the market as well,
So
understanding that.
So
Yeah.
one of so some very very valid points that you made, that why it's the right time and what needs to be done. This whole collaborative attitude I learned for the first time through the museum system in New York. So this is something that I had not
Oh,
learned in India. Even though I have worked with, like I have been a fly on the Bollywood wall, multiple walls, multiple projects. I've whether you are in the mecca of Bollywood, some big producer actors, office room to get excited about, or you are on a set outside on the doors, you're still a fly on the wall, right? You just keep being a fly on the wall in a VIP room versus a lane. So as a fly on the wall, what I realized was, and maybe things have changed now with the influencer market and the influencers on social media, maybe that has
correct.
changed a little bit. But in Bollywood, whatever my experience has been, there is never that collaborative um,
Spirit.
ecosystem. No, more than spirit. See, in pockets you will have spirits. People who are friends together always have that collaborative spirit. But for strangers, like if you are an outsider,
Yes.
wanting to make you feel at home is not something that is ingrained in the Bollywood system. In the Bollywood system is, I want to direct a movie, you have come, you are my competitor, so I need to make sure that I don't let you in, and I don't teach you, and
Yeah.
I don't explain things to you. Which, based on 80s and 90s, when I would hear stories of the producers and singers and actors, that okay, do this, do that, go and meet that person. I understand that in today, one big director cannot meet 200 people. But
Absolutely.
there aren't 100 big directors where each one can meet 10 people. That
Absolutely.
ecosystem is not there. So, with that in mind, with Mindroom, we are starting a small step with this artist to artist program. What exactly it is, I'll just break it down. Artist to artist program was something in my mind where I have always wanted to collaborate with other artists to co create something. And we'll do a blog about that. Where did that come from? So, when that happened with Hassan, we started out with artist to artist. Okay, I can do 3D modeling, I can do marketing, I can do designing, I can do a bunch of stuff, but I can't do these many things. And he already had a whole bunch of ready-made thing. He then plugged in the 2D artist so that we can have the 2D form. I got in my resources. I have a tiny team of youngsters who I have been kind of torturing for the last 2 years, who have finally understood my way of working. So out of 8 of them, I'm left with 2 now. So 2 of them have stuck by me, and I think I'm not going to let them go. So they and I put together some ideas. We tested them out over the properties that I have talked about: DesiPopWorld, DesiPop Things, Desi Superverse. We are coming up with DesiPop Kirana, DesiPop Fashion, and a whole bunch of others. As and when the kids keep finding their own niches and take responsibility. We now have Rohel, who's our digital marketing person, who's doing a pretty kind of, he's quite excited. So we have to do a good job. So now when we have all these properties with artist to artist program, with Hassan, we started out saying, okay, let's do this artist, let's create it. And he's the first artist who has transitioned from us working together for a year. It took us, what, about a year to go back and forth with the legal terms and ideas and what we want to do.
Yeah,
Because
to just
because
ensure
given
we are on the same page. Yeah.
Yes, but left to him and I, we would have probably done what we finally did a year later, the first month. But
Yes.
lawyers and lawyers. So let's talk about my lawyer, his lawyer. They got involved, and something that was supposed to be a 5-line thing became a 10-page contract. Now, is that good or bad? It's up to the kind of person you are. if you are a 20-year-old kid or 22-year-old kid, you believe in your gut so much that yaar, ye sab paperwork kuch nahi hota hai, let's just start. But when you become, you are in your 30s, right, Hassan?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
I'm 47. So when you are in your 40s and 30s, you understand the importance of a legal contract also. Because it's very similar to business, starting business together is very similar to dating and marriage. पहले सब कुछ अच्छा होता है, you show everything, then you have your one ugly fight. Whether you are able to move on from that and like the way you live with your spouse, are you able to live with like that with your co-founder, with your employees, with your colleagues, everything? So that is what you learn. So the lawyers, it's their job. You can't fault them for being this nitpicky, because when things go to shit, we make the lives miserable
Correct.
for our lawyers. So we also, so as creative people, you cannot shy away from legal and tough money negotiation conversation, because creative people feel very
Correct.
uncomfortable talking about it. He and I took a very long time to even bring this up. अरे यार creative काम करते ना, छोड़ पैसे का बात, creative काम करते हैं.
Absolutely.
But you need to know that, and that is one thing I have experienced in Bollywood, where the creative people will say, yaar, I don't understand money numbers and all, let's focus on
Hmm.
creative. And then you have all the money people, and then the whole experience is completely divided, where the
Correct.
create, so then the ball in your court and the dance happens and actual work starts getting reduced. So in our case, that was the first step. So we went through the cycle. It took us about 6 to 8 months to kind of, we would talk to each other every week, feel a little comfortable. I'm sure he went and spoke to his spouse. I spoke to my spouse to figure out, okay, how do we, go back to each other, because we wanted it to work. There was this feeling of wanting to work.
Yeah.
Then we decided, sorry, I'll just finish the steps.
Sure.
Then artist to artist program, when we got to that stage of execution, Hassan, because it was his baby, he just didn't rely कि अच्छा अब शैलजा का resources है, she will take care of it because I have a full-time job. He every night after his job would sit for 4 hours, 5 hours, 11 in the night, would message. I would see that. So what is the term, Hassan, where you are
What?
constantly at it something? What is
Persistence.
persistence? Yes. So he was very persistent and not letting go. So even if it was 6 months, we didn't lose interest in each other and each other's ideas.
Right.
Finally, about 2 months, 3 months ago, my India team kind of integrated with Hassan, and that was the next step. So India team also, I want Hassan, now why don't you talk about Voxel Fox and how your integration with this team of mine, who's the next generation, the team leader and the content person, how did you interact with these kids who already were doing something on DesiPopWorld, and your engagement with them led to what we are doing today? So if you can talk about the process. This has happened, what, in about 1.5 months?
Yeah, just in
Yeah.
November and December start
Yeah.
actually.
So
So
yeah.
yeah, so as Shelja mentioned, right, this was one of its kind collaboration that we were talking about, creating this whole universe, creating platform for other artists as well as, working as artists as well as co-founders, together. So putting two different hats on. So you need to, so I just will say one thing that, what Shelja was actually mentioning, the summary of it is each artist needs to put on different hats, and they need to understand that you need to put a hat of a co-founder, a business person as well, a marketer as well, a creative person as well, finance person as well, to whatever extent they can. So that is the main crux of that. So and even that was learning experience for me as well. So once I reached there, and once we had trust in each other, I really believe in her ethics. She is one of the most ethical people that I've ever met, like, very straightforward in the face ethics. So I really like that. So after that, like, I was very convinced, now we need to start. We need to start. And she was also like, okay, we need to start now with the Superverse. So she put me in touch with her team. They're awesome team, very, very hardworking people. There is Nidhi, who takes care of all the, who leads a lot of creative ideas and all in Desi Pop World. There's Umang, who is a great content person. So she put me in touch with them, and I actually, overwhelmed them with my ideas, with my universe. I just unleashed everything on them. And
Sorry, I'll interrupt
yeah,
this.
yeah,
Nidhi, is one person who has been with me the first. So she came and started working with me 2 years ago. And Umang, I think very soon after also joined. So Nidhi landed up telling me this, and I'm saying this publicly.
Hmm.
So she said, I thought पूरे दुनिया में एक crazy बस आप ही हो. And then you introduce us to Hassan.
Yeah.
So him
I can
overwhelming.
believe.
Yes.
Yes. I actually overwhelmed them because the first meeting that I had with them,
Hmm.
and we planned to launch something on the new year. So we are very close. Today we did our first post, right? So we actually were very close. But within 1 month, we had this crazy idea that within 1 month, let's launch. It may be a little bit imperfect. It's an evolving thing, and it's collaborative artwork. So let's plan to launch on the new year. And I unleashed on them, this is the whole world. These are all the characters. This is the first character. He has like hundreds of years of history and all the details. And they're like, wow, where does this end and where does this begin? Like, and I really feel like they were totally overwhelmed, even though they did not complain or they did not tell me this, but I just felt that. And that was like our first meeting for hours. I think we went over the information that I had, the stories that I had. We were talking for hours. And then I think they got very excited as well. So for after days later, they started creating like all these tidbits about the character, breaking down the story into Instagram posts and all. Because I was a story writer, I'm a story writer, but I have never done something like this before where I'm dividing the story on a daily basis. Like we are going to give you tidbits that are go on a daily basis. And the storytelling has never been done this way before. So even for her team, it was very, very new. And we also, in 1 month, we also talked about several ideas of implementing this. We actually went on to create to the extent of entertaining an idea of creating like 5, 10 different accounts and whatnot. I don't want to actually tell all those things because
We will
that
do
may
it.
happen in the future. We went through a plethora of crazy ideas and then thought, okay, let's begin very simple, very, very streamlined way of with one account with one place and simple storytelling. And then we prepared a whole expansion idea which we have now. We are clear how we are going to expand this, and that all happened within 4 weeks. We created artworks, we created storytelling for like 50, 60 days of posting online within those 4 weeks, and them getting to know my world and my characters from scratch. Like there is no literature about this, there is nothing, right? And so that was very commendable. And till now, that is the power of collaboration that can bring such type of ventures into existence, into manifestation so quickly. If there was no collaboration like that, it couldn't have happened so quickly. It would have taken me years to figure out and even try to do something like this. So yeah, that is how it all happened. And then now with Rohel, who is the social media person, we brought him on board, and he's just very new. He came in like December end, and 1 week before the new year, he joined us, and we told him we want you to prepare the whole strategy to launch it on Instagram. And he's like, what? Like it's like just 1 week, and I'm just joining right now, and this is all original Superverse characters. But like everybody's put in a lot of hard work and time to make this happen and start. And this is just a journey. So, persistence is gonna be the key, and there is a lot of hard work that will be required to make it quality, make quality entertainment for people. And that's what I think. And for artists as well, the more
Right.
people, the artists join, it's going to blow up pretty exponentially.
That,
So
so
yeah,
thank you so much. So this kind
yeah.
of gives you an idea of the long process. And with Hassan, what I have been able to do is because he is a very organized executor. and he's a very organized operations person. I suck at operations. Like, I come up with 20 ideas. Like right now, while I'm talking to you, whatever he said, I have some 11 ideas right here. So I'm like, very quickly I can just become a squirrel and start moving into different things. So he is the kind of person who understands that out of the 10 things that I'm saying, which one needs to be prioritized. So if you are thinking of starting something on your own, first find out what you are not good at. I will always harp on that and take that lesson. If you want one lesson, what you give to the youngsters, first find out what you are not good at. Once you know what you're not good at, that is what you need to start looking for people who you think are artists who are going to probably become your business partners, collaborators, maybe for just a project manager, whatever. Just finding a co-founder who has a good label or this person does that is nothing. Only if they compliment you. Like, there is a Tom Cruise, you complete me, you wala
Yeah,
jo hota hai.
like
So
a
even
jigsaw puzzle.
like a jigsaw puzzle, no, or like a 3D jigsaw puzzle, what
Yeah.
pieces fit. So for me, one of the biggest things what I felt when we were talking to each other and figuring out how we want to work together is the operation skills and taking all the crazy shit that comes out of my mouth and brain, making it into these organized system and bytes to be let out and what makes sense. You need that more than people with good ideas. People with good ideas, mere jaise, you will find hundreds of people. But somebody who can take that idea, think of all the pieces that comes with it. So now we have talked about Mindroom, which resides under Desi Superverse, a superhero universe. We are releasing the first character day after tomorrow. We are going to then start talking, and every day we are going to have engagement with the audience, and we'll keep inviting the audience from whoever is creators to create stuff, reach out to us, because we are building a model for everybody to benefit from, along with giving some money. It's not just a model ki, okay, come, we'll make something together. If it sells, you make money. That is the most lazy model that is there. We have a payment model, we have fundraising model, we have a whole bunch of things that we are building. These are again runes, half finished ideas. So
Yes.
right, so we have this main character. As you can see, the proportions of these characters, like, you see this is the first character. So the proportion of these characters are all human size, larger than life. So if we are trying to make a super villain, which is a black and white character, gray character, we are going to do this. What we are going to do is, once you make content, so let's take a leaf from Disney, right? Disney, they, over the last 120 years, what have they done? Right? You make a content and then you have a whole 360 ecosystem. So what does that even mean? Like Pixar has done that, Star Wars has done that. A lot of these big franchises, Pokemon, a lot of these big brands from India. The one name that I mention, and we are so proud of it, is Chota Bheem, what Rajiv Chilaka has done for the animation industry. But that's one company. What about 10 companies like that? So the next step of this is that, yes, this is the original from the writer's mind. He participates, he collaborates with the right set of artists that he feels. But what about the artists that he feels as a creator? Yes, they are good, but I can't accommodate 20 creators. What do we do about them? They still want to express themselves. That's where derivative storytelling comes into play. What are we doing? Once we release this character, whatever this character is called when Hassan releases it, I am making a chibi version of the same character. So as you can see, it's very, very obvious that this is inspired by Basanti. But because I don't have the rights for it, it is Gaon Ki Gori. Simple, right? Or I have the rights for this. This is Khalnayak, that Mukhtar Subhash Ghai directed movie, and this is Sanjay Dutt's character Khalnayak, bad boy. So I have the rights, so I can make action figures and sell and create content to sell those action figures. So what we are doing is that this character, the first character, we are making a chibi style, and these chibi style characters are meant for an open source philosophy. So, for example, if we have some artist, a 3D artist, who comes and says, okay, this superhero that we are launching for Mindrune is very interesting. I would like to play around and create some 30-seconder. We might not be able to collaborate with you with the original character, but we can do it with our chibi style derivative characters, which lends itself to cutting across generations. So, for example, that superhero will be meant for, let's say, we call the man boys category, like I would love it, and Hassan, and people who are superhero fans who are at the like teenager and above can understand. But for the younger kids, you need to then simplify them, which means that the cuteness factor comes into it, the colors, the basic colors, whether you want to go to primary. So, a lot of other things which are UI UX connected to the next generation audience, we are going to take this and create this cute storytelling with them and a derivative. So let's say this character is X. Now this X character comes from this universe, and whatever the story comes out. Now some kid fan fiction could take this and make their own stories. Now the tools are available where these kids, instead of just consuming content or watching Twitch where somebody is playing a video game, explaining a video game from day one using either augmented reality and phygital goods. What does that mean? Let's say this is that character. I'm just using this for now. I've created that character. And now this is integrated with an app on your phone, which a lot of apps are doing it, but again, they become expensive. So we are trying to make that very, very common. So even with something as simple as paper, or you create these 3D jigsaw puzzles, you interact with the character and the kids get to do the storytelling themselves. So a 3D modeler could look at doing this, or maybe a Unity or an Unreal Engine programmer. Say, okay, we have about 80 of these ready. Right? Now imagine the superhero character. If the superhero character, oh, I also have this guy, Dr. Dang. He's a villain. So this new character that Hassan is launching, whether he's a superhero or supervillain, what will happen if he meets Dr. Dang in real life? What kind of story? So we will provide a lot of scenarios, improv situations with tools, with graphics, with 3D models for you to then focus on using your brain rather than getting all harrowed in trying to learn the complicated softwares, because we are all at a stage where, and my tech side of it, the technology piece of it that Hassan and I are working on, the artist to artist thing, we have crossed the line where now he is also interested, because he's interested in the NFT space, crypto space, all of that. We are working on creating those tools based on the big guys, what they have already done. So if you can, Hassan, talk about a little Stack Overflow, plug and play, plugins, etc., get a little tech there as to what we are looking to do, like the avatar kits that are available. If you can talk a little about that, then we can wrap up and invite people to send us
Ask any
their.
questions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. So on the tech side, basically, and as you may have, if you've listened to even a few minutes of what Shelja has said throughout the past hour or so, like you would have known, like we are not talking about the traditional mediums of storytelling, right? We are talking about the most interactive storytelling, which is open-ended and has different types of applications, right? So as she said, for kids, you need some different type of artwork, some different type of storytelling. For 2D lovers, for 3D lovers, and so on, different types of applications. So you need something plug and play in terms of technology parts, and even for e-commerce. So we're thinking about plug and play tools for NFT making, NFT selling, NFT marketplace if we go to the e-commerce side. So for imagine a use case where an artist says like, okay, I just want to create a different clothing or different type of version of this character because I just imagine they would look amazing in this type of,
And that could be a
you
fashion
know,
designer student.
correct,
That
a
could,
fashion designer student, for example, right? They may want to create something and that may be amazing. They may be able to sell that so well. So then we would create tools where they can go in, they can create those NFTs and they can sell in the marketplace. And they would not be just totally shut out of using those characters, right? So they would have the leverage of using the character, its backstory, its public knowledge to then leverage that, and we'll create the technology tools for that. And then if we talk about a more fancy stuff or more futuristic stuff, then we go into gaming as well, because the gaming is one of the types of storytelling that is amazingly interactive and enjoyable, right? So, and gaming is something where we would love to even do it as time pass or any kind of audience can interact with it. So we try to create, this is one thing that is lacking in even Indian industry, that we don't have an expansive universe type game for any of the Indian fan fiction as well. Forget the original characters, but I see like I have been a fan of so many Indian characters, and I'm sure everybody, all of you are fan of somebody, right, in Indian fan fiction, and you cannot do anything with that. rather than just telling to your friends, oh, I like this character. That's it. There is no other fan fiction. So we are trying to put game together or gaming platform and all, but I'm just giving you a very small idea, but that is the case of the tool. The other tools that we are trying to put in place apart from NFT marketplace or gaming for storytelling and artist engagement is the actual creation of the content. So different types of platforms, templates, if there are different types of templates created for an artist, they can take one step further. If a 3D model is created, if licenses, if all the technology pieces are in place for an artist, they do not need to worry about a lot of admin stuff. And also, imagine if for an artist, a lot of templates are created in terms of, logo placements or the whole artistic styles, and they can choose just like how you choose in a Word document or PowerPoint presentation, right? You have so many templates there. But for storytelling, imagine if there are different templates for different artists in form of tools. As she said, a lot of platforms exist. So we're trying to put all these tools together for content creation, leverage that the artists can leverage for interaction of all types of people. And also, as he said, for people who want to produce physical goods, not just digital. So even for physical goods, right? As she has like the toys behind her and then other merchandise, we want that. So all of these four things, we want to create tools in different, capacities. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's thank you so much. That was really, really well put. So now let's just, I'll just dig into the physical part of it. So one of the big things is that one of my main focus areas is action figures. If you look at the Indian subcontinent, the South Asia, like growing up in India, my mom grew up on Barbie, my generation grew up on Barbie, my friends' kids' generation is growing up on Barbie. I
Yes,
cannot believe that we don't have anything. So
absolutely.
an action figure is one of the most complicated form of 3D production when it comes to costing, etc.
Correct.
So unfortunately, I worked on two movies and I've done these merchandising there. So we have also launched shop.desipopworld.com. It is just a Shopify site that we have done where we have partnered with a company in Bombay as of now, which is into on-demand merch, which is kind of the latest thing that if you like the t-shirt. So there's t-shirts and coasters and all of that is great because that's just like every second person who wants to do an e-commerce site, these products are very widely available. They can get manufactured, shipped all over on demand. Action figure is one thing. I feel that the reason why you have toys and why as kids you're given dolls and action figures and boys would get action figures and girls would get dolls, that's also changing. And these characters that represent through educational softwares, etc., also have entered the lives of these kids' minds so much that there is so much more you can teach them or talk to them about. So one of the reasons for us to do this whole ecosystem design and why Hassan and I and like-minded people are so passionate about it is because I don't know about him, but I am one of those people, last 30% of class, last 5% of class, last 1% of class, I am that. So this whole ecosystem design is for the new STEM, which like science, technology, engineering, and maths. You add art,
Yes.
so that's STEAM. The next generation STEAM from Pocket Box Office Group, which is our company. Like now that John Hassan is also part of this whole ecosystem, our company is that the new STEAM is storytelling, technology, entertainment, arts, and merchandising. So it's a self-sufficient solopreneur's dream that you have an idea, you can create content, try and use that content either to get money to make more content or use that content to market merchandising, whether you do digital merchandising or physical merchandising. For digital merchandising, NFT is the route. For physical merchandising, collaborations with retailers, manufacturers, and platforms like us, where you don't want to manufacture, you just want to do the design and others take care of it. All of this ecosystem is currently existing in the world. If you go out and search, you will be able to do it. But if you don't have the energy, time, wherewithal, or you are just exhausted and want somebody to just say, "Acha bhaiya, mere ko bata do, I am willing to learn, but I don't have that research mindset," that is where we come in play. So Twitch channel. Yesterday, Hassan and I miserably tried to do one
Fail.
warm-up session. So on Twitch TV, there is Shelja NYC. We are planning to do that once or twice a week. I guess next 2 weeks we are going to warm up, and that's where we are going to teach the tips, tricks, and the whole process so that you don't have to spend 1,000 hours learning 10% of 10
Yeah,
softwares, because what you need to learn also is so wide. So for us, the idea
correct.
is to it's like we are working towards helping people become a speed storytelling and speed merchandising company. A team of 3 people, 4 people can do this. So the whole boutique system, we are trying to create this mini boutique. So in Pocket Box Office, Voxel Fox is a team. Nidhi is the person who conceptualized, worked with me from day one, and she is heading the whole team. She's the creative head. Omang joined in. He's the content guy, brings in, and they are both, I think, I don't know, 23, 25 ke beech mein dono. So they are bringing that generation, and we are looking to replicate this model and create mini groups, mini agency style model within ours. So there's this first group. We are working towards getting other people. So if you all are a group of 2, 3 kids, like almost like a band, but one is a graphic designer, one is a storyteller, but you don't have a 3D modeler. There could be somebody else who writes very well but doesn't have any graphic person. So whoever you guys are, and I am just targeting the youngers, but if you are in your 40s, 50s, who are looking at doing something new because you have enough resources and you would like to just explore, this is the good time, because we are getting into yet another fucking COVID shit. So next 2 months is going to be everybody sitting at home. So Hassan and I are going to be extremely active, we are very energized. So we hope that all of you all keep sending us more and more energy. And I don't know whether today or tomorrow or maybe on Monday, we are going to do a Twitch session where he and I are going to be live, and I am going to show, and this character by then we would have released it. So I am actually going to show the whole process of making this character from the 2D references, which softwares are used, then how did I make the clothes, how did I animate it, how did I do the graphic part, because I'm also making the posts that you see on Desi Superverse. Yes, I'm very talented. No, I just have too much time on my hands. I'm sorry. That was a very sad joke. So, and then I will do the graphic work. We are going to make style guide of it, and how we are going to start inviting other people to collaborate with each character, be able to sell that whole case study, the whole journey. Hopefully in the next 2 months, we'll be able to do this, create a case study and give it to anybody who wants it, so that you can use that almost like a syllabus and be able to replicate like a case study for yourself. So that's what we are hoping in the next 2 months. And I am shaming myself to say this out loud so that I don't become lazy and just go back into my hole and not do anything. So that's from my end. What about you?
Yeah, I think you covered everything. And I mean, I just don't know what to say anymore because I think let people slowly experience, and there is just too much of information that is there.
Okay.
So, yeah, absolutely. I think I'm very excited about this, starting
Okay.
a new Superverse.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's amazing.
one person we have online who wrote was, uh, I don't know how do you, so Wali Khan War
Mm.
Dog. I don't know how do you pronounce that whole thing. So that's his icon. He wrote, "We will love to be with the part of your topic." He's from Pakistan. So what I would like to tell you is that please reach out to us. We are already working with 2 artists, one from Nigeria, one from Iran. I think Hassan already has an artist. She's a writer from Pakistan. He's already looking to work with her. So we are, and I have another friend from my. She's a fantastic designer based in New York, who's also from Pakistan. So the whole Indo-Pakistan, we are very, very excited because I have a lot of friends who are married to Pakistan artists as well who live in Europe. So we are actually creating a artivism project with Bollywood, because there's so much of Bollywood overlap with Pakistan as well. So we are looking to have a special artist to artist program, and we would love to hear what you have to say. And let's get on a meeting maybe either tomorrow or next week and figure out and do a special superhero vertical with what your culture, what you can bring in from your local surroundings and create something. So we'd love to. Please
Yeah,
ask us
just to
questions.
add, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, just to add there,
Hmm.
whoever wants to contact us for collaboration, one thing is to, of course, message us anytime. But also in our first post, we have mentioned an email address, artist to artist at pbo.nyc. So you can just refer to that as well and just email there. So that will go to our team directly. So they'll ensure that it doesn't get missed out. Yeah.
Where is the email ID? I don't see it on the
Yeah,
post.
it
It's
is
on the post?
there. Yeah, in the post description, it is there.
Okay, perfect. Uh, okay, so it's artist to artist. So artist to artist, two is like
Correct, the number two.
the artist to
Yeah.
artist at pbo.nyc. What I'm going to do is I will post later today after I put this video on that. I'll also write the same email ID, call to action. Please reach out. Typically, from the time anybody who reaches out to us, it takes us about a week to get things going. So keep that in mind, that it takes us about a week to have the calls and figure this out for them to get started on something. So whatever timelines do you have, give us about a week to kind of wrap our head around, because we are definitely, like a moving truck. I am like a fast truck going at whatever speed, and people like Hassan and all are constantly trying to balance me out. So give us a week. Next question. Any question? Do you have any? Hassan, तेरे को कुछ बोलना है?
No, I think I'm just very excited for the launch, and I think you also gave a lot of information today. So yeah, I think it's awesome. You know.
And one thing is, so if since they have kind of been here so long and मैंने इतना tech rant मारा है, so I will just, so for all the special people who have joined in, this character that I'm working on, he wears a dhoti. Okay, so I will reveal that he wears a dhoti, and you all are getting a. So I'm working on this software called Marvelous Designer, which is known to do clothing physics. So it actually, the clothes move. I'm so excited. Yes, I'm a geek. I get excited about such shit. I get turned on by this shit. So I am showing you a basic dhoti that I have been working on for 2 days. It's so tough. So it's an actual 3D dhoti that I have taken one piece of cloth, and I have not stitched them. So I've taken a proper cloth and made it into a dhoti in that, and it was harrowing. So I just wanted to show you guys. There it is. So this is kind of the back of the dhoti. So I'm still working on it. Pleats abhi my writer is not happy with it, because he's like, "Acha, iska ye wala pleat theek nahi hai." So when I was making, see, this is how you can make. So,
Yeah.
Yes. So
So
on that,
you can teach. Shelja can teach how to tie a digital dhoti. So yeah,
yes, correct. That is
after
going to be
this.
on my resume as a 3D modeler. जिसको काम
Yeah.
चाहिए that I
It
can
could
make a
be actually very good for artists to, know how
yeah,
you actually
yes.
created it.
Yes,
It's
yes, yes,
awesome.
absolutely. So we are going to be doing that. So look us up on Twitch, and and Hassan. By the way, do you know the story that for the longest time I thought your name is Hassan Mithaiwala?
Yeah, I saw that in your earlier post.
I found out your actual surname when when your lawyer sent me the contract, उसमें
The
लिखा
end.
हुआ था.
Yeah.
So when my spouse saw it, he was like, "You've been telling his name is Mithai Wala?" I was like, "It looked like Mithai." Sorry about that.
Nice. No, no, that's fine. It's a
At
very
least,
complicated last name anyways.
what does it mean though?
It's so Mithibor Wala actually, as far as what I know, like the ancestors, they had like jungles of like this boar. Boar is a type of a fruit actually in
Oh,
Gujarat. So this is like a
so
Gujarati
are you a Parsi?
surname. No, no, no. I'm a Bori Muslim,
अच्छा, हाँ तो
Dawoodi
basically
Bori. But yeah,
because
similar to
Parsi,
Parsis.
हाँ, they all also have Wala, right? So that's why
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought,
yeah. I know. We
so
get confused with the
correct.
Parsis also have similar
Correct. So
names
I
with the
just, तो
Walas.
मैं तो तुमको, not just him, even like India में जो मेरे collaborators and the people who I'm like, so I was like, and also when I was putting your name on the website, I first put Mithai Wala. Then I was told he's not Mithai Wala, he's Mithi Bo. I was
Boro.
like, okay, fine.
Yeah,
So yeah, I do think that the Mithai Wala sounds more fun.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, I didn't know that. Cool, cool, cool. That's good. So,
Awesome.
okay, anyone else? I have some old friends here. I shout out to Sanjeev is there. Sanjeev Chotrani is here. He was my ISEC friend, and we did a lot of shit in Calcutta those days. lot of naughtiness. So anyone, any questions? किसी का कोई questions ही नहीं है यार. That means we are so good. We answer everything beforehand.
No, I think people are just overwhelmed with all the information.
Stop
It will
telling me
come
I
back.
overwhelm people. Stop saying that.
No,
No.
it's good. It's good.
Okay.
I mean, it's something very new. So,
So
yeah.
thank you so much one more time. So this is it, guys. Desi Superverse, Mind Rune at Desi Superverse. Please join us. Please support our first artist-to-artist collaborator, who is hopefully going to become a next like big chela.
Oh
I'm
my
sure
God.
he's Stanley's big
Oh,
chela.
no way. Yeah,
Yes.
no.
So yes. So you better
I
get
mean,
me a hit. I am the
I mean, he
producer.
was
You
one
get,
of the, I mean, he was one of the inspirations from the start, of course,
of
for all
course.
the imaginators like me.
Great.
But
So what was
yeah,
your first Stanley work that you've seen? Like, do
I
you
don't even
remember?
remember what was this first
Okay.
because since childhood, like it's been
Okay.
so many characters.
Okay. I was never a big
But,
superhero. मेरे लिए,
but
for me, Amitabh Bachchan was the superhero. So for me, like उसका comics क्यों नहीं
yeah,
है?
yeah,
विजय का
me too.
comics क्यों नहीं है?
Hi, absolutely. See, Ajuba. I'm very fond of Ajuba character, and I was like, why is there no follow up for that? It was an amazing movie. Even now, if you see that movie, it has a lot of creativity. At a dolphin for a substitute of a dolphin as a mother. Like, how many movies have you seen that? Creativity. I'm really telling you, genuinely. That is the creativity that movie had. Never got its due.
I am sure that the makers of Ajuba are going to find your number to call you and
I am a big fan of Ajuba, okay, since childhood. And I think that is one of the relevant characters that can be revised, even revamped even now. And we're missing those period pieces. That is in a genre which we don't have right now. We have all the modern heroes, but you know.
I can't believe, Hassan, your timing is so perfect. So Desi Superverse, I was going to end the show, but now that you've mentioned this, I have to talk about the other one. So Desi Superverse has two, so we were thinking of talking about this the next time, but since you've said it, I'm sure people will be excited. So Mind Rune is meant for anybody and everybody who's looking at original ideas. So Mind Rune is a completely original characters where you're not making a derivative storytelling. There is another property which is called Bollywood Superhero League. That is based, imagine Sheila, Munni are superheroes. Imagine Mehbooba is a superhero. What would the costume look like? What can you do? So that is almost based on the principles of open source, creative, derivative storytelling. So Ajuba, let's do this. When we get to Bollywood
Yes,
Superhero League, I am sure Hassan is going to say, "Pehle to Ajuba," because the Bollywood Superhero
absolutely.
League right now, the first set of people are women. So we are focusing on women. So Hassan's first saying, why is there no male here?
I'll,
And like,
yeah,
so I told him, पिछले 50 साल 100 साल से men are getting everything. Bollywood Superhero League will be women first. So Ajuba will be later, even though I'm a big fan of it. So
yeah,
that's
no
it.
problem, no problem. Absolutely. I'll just tell people one more glimpse of that Bollywood superverse. Like right now, since past 1 year, people were so fascinated by, if they're gonna see, and this is a little bit of spoiler about Spider-Man, so please log out. I'm glad I'm saying this in the end. I'll try not to spoil Spider-Man at all, but it is very relevant what we are doing that, Marvel is creating this multiverse, right? And making people excited about, oh, what this character from other universe interacts with the other universe character and all, right? And people are so excited about that, with Doctor Strange, with Spider-Man. So imagine with Bollywood Super League, Shehenshah and Ajuba meet. So imagine that, or Satte Pe Satta character with Ajuba, with Shehenshah, you know.
And to all of you, if you go to Desi Pop World on YouTube, this chibi style characters, Angry Young Man, we have 7 versions of him ready already, all rigged. Already a music video is done. So if you want, like, so since we have 7, 8 Angry Young Man's versions of all his characters, like Babu Moshai, we have Wise Old Man, we have, of course, Shehenshah's avatar, all of them with fan names. So please reach out if you guys are interested. And if there are a lot of people who are interested in male superheroes, so Hassan, I might have to expand my Bollywood Superhero League immediately and include men also. So please reach out. Thank you so much. Any last words from you, Hassan?
No, I think we are good.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Absolutely lovely. So the next, what we are going to do is next is our Tuesday session. So depending
Hmm.
upon how we do in the next 3 4 days, what we post, the way response we get, Tuesday, depending upon how much work Hassan has on his plate, he will either join us to give us a follow up, or he and I are definitely going to be on Twitch on Wednesday, where we are going to start the first set of process of showing this first character and the process of how I made that, so that other 3D artists can reach out to us.
Great. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
And
Yeah.
thank you so much. I see like there were some almost 20, 30 people joined. Oh my God, this is amazing. I'm so excited. This is my first time I'm seeing so many people actually paying attention, or at least listening to what we are saying. So thank you. And I definitely look forward. And I have already followed this person. So Hassan and I will be in touch with one gentleman who showed interest in collaborating.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.